What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to episode number 33 today of the My Player Career Mode. Thank you so much for all of your support on episode number 32. It was a weird episode last time out. We had such a good kind of episode. It was a major roller coaster of emotions, I guess you can say, that happened. But today's episode, we're going to kickstart it off with some interesting news. As you can see the league table right there on your screen, Spurs have a game in hand, but are 2 points off of top spot currently. So, you know, it's going to be quite tough. And as we're showing you here, yesterday, a private jet landed its way into Heathrow London Airport. And the weird thing about this was, of course, we are approaching the back end of the season. So there's all sorts of rumours swirling around about who this could be that has landed at Heathrow. Is it going to be a new player potentially heading their way to the English leagues and trying to scout it out first? Could it in fact be scouts from some other clubs coming over to the English league to check out some new additions potentially for them in the summer window? As you saw a car then leaving London Heathrow, Ben received this email from his agent. It says, "Ben, keeping this short and sweet. Last night, a private jet landed in London. Not sure who was in it, but it's the same jet that has been used by scouts from some of Europe's biggest clubs in the past. Not to make you worry, but if they are scouts in London, then they're here for a reason. Let us show them what England has to offer in the way of talent." So, of course, for Ben, he's been told now by his agent that not necessarily he is a scout, but he hasn't recognised the plane and the jet and said that it has been used in the past to fly over scouts from Europe's biggest clubs. So, for Ben, this is kind of going to make him a little bit more, I guess, nervy when he plays. But he's going to try his best, I hope, in order to be able to play the same game that he has been playing all season long. Of course, if scouts are out there to watch him, then he wants to play well. But, you know, it doesn't really matter whether or not he plays to his best of his abilities or if he stays here at Spurs. Because at the end of the day, provided he's winning trophies, I'm not sure he cares where he is at that current time. But if it is a scout, question marks are going to be raised about where they are from. Could it be Real Madrid? Could it be Barcelona? Could it be Bayern Munich? All these major European clubs. And we don't know if A, it even is a scout, or B, where they are from if it is. So I guess we'll find out if it is in a future episode for Ben, depending on what happens. But enough about that now for now, guys. As you can see, we're jumping into the episode today. The first game is against Liverpool. It is the game in hand that Spurs do, in fact, need to win if they want to go back top of the table. As you know, we're approaching the back end of the season, guys, and I'm really excited, actually, because the episode after this one, we're going to have 4 games in today's episode, so we're going to go right until Spurs' 36th league game of the season, and then we'll be playing it in the next episode live for you all to enjoy. So this game started off very well indeed, as Ben found himself inside the area, inside 8 minutes, and he made the score. Spurs 1, Liverpool 0. It was a mistake made by the Liverpool defenders, not picking him up in the area. You have to give credit, though, to Christian Eriksen for the little pass through into Ben, but then he makes no mistake with his first time finish. You can see Matip there kind of gets drawn out, and then it's a great finish as well. First time from Ben to, secure the lead for Spurs here. So if there are scouts watching, Ben inside 8 minutes has given them something to think about as well. Remember that goal of last episode against Arsenal before he got sent off in that game, actually, may be the reason why scouts have come to England, or it may be completely different, and it may be they're looking at Harry Kane, possibly Eden Hazard, because I know Hazard has had an unbelievable season so far in this season for Chelsea. He's a top scorer in the Premier League so far, so there is every chance that Eden Hazard might also be getting looked at by some of Europeans' biggest clubs. So as Eriksen was set up by Ben, looking to return the favour for the first goal, unfortunately, the other, I guess, cam in the team, and Christian Eriksen couldn't actually find the back of the net. It was a good save from the Liverpool keeper. He was then substituted off, and Cuadrado came on, who set up Ben for him to then get in behind of Dejan Lovren with a lovely turn, and then eventually he just about squeezes it through to Jonas, who came off the bench, and he makes the score 2-0 to the visitors here. Disappointing from Liverpool. I mean, again, their frailties lie in their defence. How many times are people going to have to say that before something gets done about it? It's the same thing in FIFA, guys. They just didn't improve defensively, haven't signed anybody major. And, of course, for Ben, he could have ended up at Liverpool. He could have been a Liverpool player. But you guys voted for Spurs rather than Liverpool, of course. And that is the reason why Ben now plays for the winning side and the visitors today. And, yeah, Liverpool not really too great. I believe now that's actually a double over Liverpool for Spurs this season. So Ben and you guys clearly making the right choice as to where he should have gone, because he's having a good season and may even win a Premier League title in the first time of asking. So I guess you guys made the correct decision, and you guys are amazing for that. So yeah, credit yourselves, pat yourselves on the back, I guess you can say. And as the game came to a close, 90 minutes on the clock, it was a 2-0 win for Spurs, as I said, guys, it was literally just, the dream start to an episode for Spurs there. So winning that game in hand means they move back top. It may only be for a couple of days because I'm pretty sure that United and Chelsea still to play, which they did, but United actually dropped points against Southampton, guys. So for the title race, United, that's not a good thing for them to have, especially when you consider Spurs had to travel to Anfield and get a result there, which they did. And on the other side of that, Southampton then beat Manchester United, which coincidentally, Southampton were the next team up against Spurs here now. So, yeah, they've just beaten one giant in Manchester United in the title race. Are they going to break the hearts of Spurs in this one? Because if they do, it puts a very nervy ending to these last few games in this season here. Chelsea may be able to sneak this from under the nose of United and Spurs if Spurs don't win here at Southampton, or at home to Southampton at least. So it's going to be an important game here. It's going to be one that Spurs have to keep focused for and keep looking at it. You can see, although they were actually sat fourth, Spurs, they actually had a game in hand. So, yeah, it was a little bit of, I guess you can't really read into that, because even though they were fourth, just as you saw there, the teams above them had played an extra game, and there was actually only a few points in it. So there was literally nothing to separate the top four, and it could have been any one of these guys who will secure a Premier League title come the end of the season. I really don't know which way it's going to go. I don't know which way to call it either. It's so close. I think this is one of the closest seasons I've probably had in a My Player save in the entirety of FIFA 17 and 18, guys. But as the game got underway, 6 minutes in, it was a nice play here as Ben gets into the area, dinks the ball towards the back stick, and Eriksen arguably should score. I mean, I've seen that a couple of times. I've reviewed that a couple of times. I looked at the replay of it now, and I think Eriksen should do a lot better with that one. At least get it on target. Don't miss. I mean, it would have been a great start to the game, much like we got in the first game, because, of course, you need these early goals in these games here if you can do it, and it would be kind of good to settle the nerves for Ben and Spurs. But great play from Ben again, beats that defender far too easy, then tries to whip across into the middle, eventually heads it all the way backwards, which then Spurs somehow keep possession of the ball before they find a pass into Wanyama. Wanyama to Kane round the corner, and it really was very nearly 1-0 Spurs again. Another good chance going begging there, Perisic the man that time. And as we move into the second half of the game, 56 minutes in, Ben and Harry Kane trying to work their way through this four at the back here. Eventually a nice Ronaldo chop sets him up with a potential shooting chance, but he couldn't quite get the opening for it. So fed it off to Eriksen, who found Kane, who found the back of the net, courtesy of the Southampton goalkeeper. So for Spurs and their season in this Premier League title race, that could be a massive goal in the title race itself, because it wasn't cleanly struck from Harry Kane, but you really think that any of the Spurs boys are going to care about that? No, they do not at all. But certainly speaking, I was slightly worried about this game here when I saw it at 60-odd minutes, or just before 60 minutes, and it was still 0-0. So that, as I said, could be a massive goal in the swing of the title race. If Spurs were to drop points here to Southampton, that might have been catastrophic to momentum moving forward. But for now, they have the lead in the game. If they can see it out, they'll get another 3 points on the board as well. So that's all you can ask from them to keep them winning their games. So it's his 5th goal of the season for Harry Kane. Not had a prolific Premier League season this time around, and he might still win a Premier League trophy, which is the craziest bit about it. There isn't a Spurs player who has scored 10 league goals this season so far. Ben is the closest, I think, on 8. So for that, how on earth Spurs are going to go on to win a league title is beyond me if they manage to do it. So to have that and have nobody above 10 goals, that's crazy. So, yeah, to even be up there and have nobody on 10 goals is pretty mad enough. But if they win a title after it, I'll be so shocked. But there you go. 1-0 win. Spurs did the job they needed to do. They got the result, and that's all that matters. It may have not been a great performance from them, but all they care about is picking up those 3 points now moving forward. So, again, they pile on the pressure, and once again, it goes to literally points within each other. It's crazy. It really is crazy. Like, look at this table now. Spurs have 2 games in hand. I don't quite know why. There might have been a few fixtures where it fell, and as I'm showing you this now at the halfway stage of today's episode, that's how it looks. Now, they're 2 points off of Chelsea, and of course that means they can draw 2 games and be on the same point. United on 75, having played 2 extra ones. City on 74, having played 2 extra ones. Depending on the way the results go for Spurs, those 2, I think, could be out of the title race, depending on if Spurs pick up 2 victories here. But then again, speaking of that, with the fact that they are on 76 and Chelsea are on 78, if Spurs win these 2 games here, they'll move 4 points clear of Chelsea with 2 games remaining. So there's every chance that Spurs will be able to put themselves in a really good position with these final 2 games of the season before we even wrap it up in the next episode. So let's see if Spurs can do the business and pretty much secure the title here at West Brom. Well, not secure the title, but, you know, get 3 points, move it forward, and then they go back top, of course. So best defensive teams in the league. They've conceded half of the second team there in the form of 13 goals. The next one was 28. And for West Brom, this is a tough test for them. They're 16th at the moment. That's their team they've got. They've actually got Florenzi at the back, which I wasn't expecting to see, but he's a very, very good right back as well. And for Spurs, it's another test for them. Can they hold out and grab themselves 3 points? Another good lineup chosen by Pochettino there as we go into game. Mike Dean, the official for this one, and we get the game underway. But it was actually Spurs with a first chance. It came pretty much from nothing, and after 38 minutes had been played, there was no shot, and the fans were crying out for a shot. So Ben gave them one, and it was never really going to go in the back of the net there. That was a simple save for Foster to make between the sticks. And then we move into the 71st minute of the game, and a free kick is given away by Sanchez to West Brom, and this could have been catastrophic if Spurs lose this one. Let's hopefully not see that happen. Florenzi stood over this, and Swift then comes along, but Swift is the man to lay this across to, I think, Chadley, whose strike is very well hit. It came off the post, hit Lloris, and went behind the goal for Spurs. So luckily for them, it didn't bounce back onto the goalkeeper and go in. As we move into the 88 minutes of it, you're thinking surely not a last-minute winner for one of the two sides here. And eventually it found its way to Chadley again, who has another good opportunity. This time, he cannot hit the target with his effort, though. So for Spurs, they can count themselves lucky, because I tell you what, they could have quite easily lost that game. On another day, Chadley's effort comes back off the post, hits Lloris, and goes in for an own goal. So Spurs, count your blessings, because you could have quite easily dropped a point there. They only gain a point, though, which means now they're on 77, 1 behind Chelsea. So, as I said, 1 game in hand, 1 point behind. If they get a victory in that, they'll go 2 ahead, of course. We'll see if they can grab that in a few moments' time to come. But for that game there, it was a slightly disappointing performance, I guess you can say, from Spurs. And considering the fact that if they win both these games, as I said, they would have gone 4 points clear, you would think that would give them enough in order to be able to get the adrenaline going and try and get at least a goal from that one. So they scraped to win against Southampton, and they very nearly lost this one against West Brom. So, yeah, a bit disappointing, but as long as they get the results, as long as they get the job done, as long as they get the title, it doesn't matter how they do it, as long as they have the points in order to secure it. So, on track for maybe a treble this season for Ben and Spurs if they manage to win the FA Cup final, which will be its own individual episode, guys. The way I'm going to work it, we're going to have the next episode will be a live episode as well. So the final 2 games of the season to see if Ben wins a Premier League. Then in the next episode after that, we'll have the FA Cup as its own individual episode, being live, of course, because I want that to be a situation where I don't want to have it overshadowed by the final 2 games of the Premier League season. So that's the way I'm going to do the next couple of episodes, guys. Hopefully, you guys like the live episodes and you guys enjoy them, because I know a few people do, but a few people also like me to do post-com as well. So hopefully you guys understand that. The reason I'm doing them both live is because they're kind of important to the series, and I want you guys to get my reactions, I guess you can say. So, I don't know if you saw that feature there, but Arsenal have drawn 19 of their 36 league games this season. How? That's over half of their games have been drawn this season. That's crazy. It's stupid, stupid crazy. But the last game of the episode here comes courtesy of Hull City FC, and it is at home. So, Spurs have got the home advantage. They've got, I guess, the better team, and they're playing against a 5 at the back, which, as you know, 5 at the back sometimes seem to work wonders against Spurs in order to deny them chances. But inside the first half, the first chance presented itself, and it was actually Ben feeding Harry Kane here. Eventually, the striker gets past the goalkeeper. I thought he was going to hit it himself. He chose not to. Instead, lays it across to Ben, who squeezes his miss-hit shot just past the defender and into the bottom corner to make the score 1-0 to Spurs. It's not the most clean strike. It's not the best one you're going to see in the entirety of the series. But boy, how it could be an important one anyway. There you go. I mean, again, literally inches away. If that defender maybe was a bit quicker, he might have got there to block that shot. You can see he looks a bit disappointed with himself, but he can't really get too disappointed as we go into the second half now, looking to kickstart off in the correct way, pretty much straight from kickoff this one. Good work from Ben, fed it to his teammate eventually, gets into the area, nice ball roll, cuts it past 2 defenders, and basically just shows the scouts what they are looking to see. That is world-class quality from Ben. And I saw a few of you guys asked me in the previous episodes to do the mass celebration, so there it is for you all. It was actually a couple of episodes ago now, but I forgot to put it on, so my bad. But there is the mass celebration regardless. And as I said, the scouts, if they are watching, that's what they're looking to see. And maybe, just maybe, Ben's going to do enough to possibly get a massive, massive offer from one of Europe's biggest clubs ahead of next season. We'll have to wait and find out. But certainly speaking, they could be looking at Harry Kane. They could be looking at anybody in the Premier League. Of course, Eden Hazard, as I mentioned earlier, having a great season as well. 2-0 up in the game. We've only 30 minutes to go now, as it was actually the next goal from Eric Lamela, of all people, on this left-hand side. Gets the ball at his feet. He's got a good left foot on him, and he just had way too much time and space in order to pick his spot. And that's the reason why it is Spurs 3 goals to the good now. As you see Ben, for some reason, running off the pitch. I think he didn't realise what he was doing, and just decided instead he was just going to run off all the entirety of the pitch. He thought the job was done. He's like, I'm going to go home now, guys. You guys play with 10 men. I have somewhere to go. So, yeah, the job's done pretty much. But he ended up coming back on the field to play. Don't you worry, guys. And Lamela makes the score 3-0. Pretty much, as I said, job done. So, for Spurs, they have to send a message now. With that 0-0 draw against West Brom, they have to improve as much as they possibly can and pick up 3 points here. But they want to do it with a sense of domination. You know, they want to absolutely batter Hull City here, and they didn't allow Hull City to even have a time or a moment's respite, because Ben, again, great footwork, gets in behind, and he slots home to grab himself the hat-trick as well. So he's had one hat-trick in the series so far. It was in England colours. This time around, he's going to grab one in Spurs colours as well. 25 minutes to go, doing the mass celebration again. Spurs 4, Hull City 0. Game over. Pretty much game over. And I think as well, for momentum moving forward, this is an important game. This is massive. If Spurs can win this 4-0, 5-0 and not concede, they'll have so much confidence going into the next 2 games, guys, of this season. Of course, the next 2 games in the next episode, which one of them is against one of the top 4 teams as well. So I don't want to say anything just yet. You'll see it later on stage in the episode as Harry Kane in behind makes it 5. Ben with the assist. It's just simple. It really is simple. I don't know what happened to Hull after they conceded the second. They went on to just crumble in this second half. After only conceding 1 in the first half, they went on to concede 4 so far in this second half. And they weren't like brilliant goals or anything. You know, again, that pass through to Harry Kane maybe should have been cut out. It wasn't the cleanest pass in the world from Ben. But regardless, it's gone in the back of the net, and Spurs do not care. They want an absolute trouncing here. 5-0 so far, and there's still 4 or 5 minutes left in the game to potentially get one more here if they can do that. Great finish from Harry Kane. Didn't actually realise that he'd actually got it in the corner as much as he did. He got that pretty much pinpoint into the bottom corner there. Great finish. And then the next chance presented itself a minute from time. It was a free kick. Eventually, Ben wins it back off that midfielder there. They were just so lackadaisical in possession. Nice chip through ball. Harry Kane headers it past the goalkeeper. These two are like 2 peas in a pod right now. They are just so good together, both for Spurs and for England. It's great to see, of course, for the future of English football, isn't it? Because, I mean, when you've got 2 players playing as well as they are at club level, surely they should be able to take this on to international level as well. So Harry Kane, in the space of 5 minutes, has gone from scoring none to having a brace in the game. But he won't get to take the match ball home because, of course, Ben already had a hat-trick. And so he will be claiming the match ball from today's game, even if Harry Kane gets one more in the last few minutes. But nevertheless, fantastic header, clinical header. And for Hull, there's not really too much you can say other than the fact that they weren't great and they pretty much got battered here. So for them, it was one of those performances that you just have to forget about. But for Spurs, a 6-0 win, that definitely sends a message to the rest of the other teams fighting for this title. So, as I said, moving forward, there's 2 games to come in the season, guys. Those 2 will be played in the next episode, both being live. One of them is against Leicester City. The next one comes against Manchester City as well on the final day of the season. Chelsea host, I think it was Newcastle at home. I'm not sure who Man United play. And I think City host, of course, Spurs at home. So, yeah, Spurs travelling to the Etihad for the final day of the season. They could have it wrapped up in the next episode if they beat Leicester. If they beat Leicester, as you can see there by the league table, they're on 36 games. They will move 2 points ahead of Chelsea and only need a draw in that final game, and then it goes down to goal difference. So we'll see who comes out on top in the next episode. United and City cannot win the title. It's mathematically not possible for them anymore. They only have 1 game remaining, so It's between Chelsea and Spurs to decide who will win the Premier League title next episode. Thank you so much for watching this one, guys. If you did enjoy it, a like would be greatly appreciated. Thank you so much as well for your continued support, as always. I will see you all again very, very soon with yet another video. If you haven't already, hit the bell so you never miss an upload, and I will catch you all again very soon. Adios!